Hey guys, it's Brooklyn Juliana, and I'm hanging out with Rob at Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out here in the studio with Brooklyn Juliana, and I'm super excited to be talking about the new material. Just you've kind of like reformatted your music. You're going to this like new kind of sound, and I'm curious like what that kind of direction was like for you. Like trying to first of all picking and like figuring out what this sound is for you, and that kind of change from going to like more of the K-pop sound to now this more like alt pop kind of sound.
That's right. You know, the change was something that like happened for me naturally. I don't know if the fans will understand that, but for me, like I've been trying to make this kind of music this whole time.
Mm.
I feel like it was just, the whole change here was like really liberating, being able to write in English, first of all, and play the instruments that I like to play instead of trying to, make pop beats and stuff like that. It's really, I really got to work on the music myself this time around as opposed to working with, a bunch of different producers.
Tell me a little bit about this song in particular. Thinking about you, like what really kickstarted that writing process for you? Now that you are basically like in control of everything, playing the instrumentation, what was that process like for you?
What kind of kickstarted for me was honestly, it was, I was on tour last year and I found that I was opening with a really, really slow song, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, we need a better walk on."
Yeah.
It just like so that opening number needed to be a lot more up tempo, and that's kind of what just started this song in particular. But as the music kind of changes, I feel like a lot of that's been influenced just by performing in front of people, and that
Yeah.
was super helpful. And just seeing the reactions of people who just couldn't leave the venue without getting a photo with me. And they would tell me that they'd been listening to me for years. And I was like, I wasn't even aware I was making music for years. And I was so grateful to meet them all.
Yeah.
So like I feel like all those emotions for me really influenced this record and the records to come.
Yeah. Now with this tour from last year, because that was your first tour, right? That you
That's
did
right. That's
last
right.
summer. So that experience, aside from like kind of figuring out that you need a more up tempo type of song to kind of kickstart the show, but like that experience and that live aspect of things, like how did that really impact you in the studio when you went in to start recording this track?
I mean, the first thing I did when I got back home from the tour was I went to my music store. I think like I drove like a couple hundred miles to get there because they had this guitar that I really wanted. And so I bought this guitar and I started playing on it and I started I'm not a guitarist by trade, but I started really learning how to write for it a little bit and just this song was what I could do for my fans and I felt like if it was authentic.
Yeah. Now, as far as the songwriting, just because you are writing in English this time around, so do you feel like that was a challenge for you, or do you feel like that was like a natural progression for you? Like,
Um
is English what you think about first when you write music?
You bet. I mean, it's technically not my first language, but it's really the only language I speak these days. And every song I've ever made um, started in English,
Mm.
and so that's kind of that's where my brain is at.
So with this new music, we have this like up tempo type of sound. How did
Yeah.
that impact your vocals?
Well, it's a little bit more up tempo. The funny thing about the song is it's a little lower than my other songs, and I want to showcase, kind of the deeper part of my voice, that man voice and all. But that actually makes it a lot more challenging. The fact that it's lower because
Yeah.
you're kind of in the meat of your voice, and so it's a little more intense for
Yeah.
me. So it's fun.
How
It's
did you
really
learn
fun.
to control that?
I mean, I mean, apart from like years and years of vocal practice, I don't, I just wanted to kind of have different colors here, and I do think my fans will hear something like just a darker tone, and so that was just fun. It's a different palette, and I really think of everything I do in terms of a palette or a vision.
Yeah. Now, as far as production goes, Matty Harris is the producer on this, or
Matty Harris, well, he mixed and mastered the record, and he did do some production elements, especially with the effects and creating certain moments in the song.
How would you say that this team with, or how did you say like that collaboration with this team was like for you? Do you feel like it was just natural in the studio? Did you feel like you had to kind of get used to them before you started recording this track?
Um, you know, they all have just great credits. The writers and Maddie, of course. Um, it was quite natural because we knew their body of work, and we really like to work with people whose first ideas are going to be the one,
Mm,
and that's what happened here. When I wrote, when I started writing and producing this song, the lyrics "Thinking About You," I just kind of mumbled out. That was the chorus, and then we handed it off to a songwriter. His name was Noah, and
amazing songwriter, by the
he
way.
did a great job. And just his first instincts were so on point. Everything he wrote made it
Mm,
there, except for his hook because I had already written a hook.
mm,
But we let him write blind, and
wow.
so he actually didn't hear my hook. And when he wrote his verse, and then when we Frankensteined it together, that's what we do. It just sounded so
Wow.
great. So many great moments on the record.
What was it like writing that hook?
It was natural. Like it was just one of those things where I didn't even know the song was going to be called "Thinking About You" until I was just like, "Do do 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 do." Yeah, I'm thinking about, and it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
it's "Thinking About You," and I couldn't stop singing that. So I guess that's just what it was.
Now you mentioned you like to work with people that like have work on that first initial idea. Is that the same when you go and record the vocals? Like, do you try and tackle that first original vocal, or do you try and like kind of test the waters with different vocal recordings?
I'm definitely in the latter camp. I'm like I give myself so many options and just different tones and different
Mm,
colors, and because I find like a lot of the writing happens in the booth for me.
yeah.
That's what's happening.
How different would you say that like singing K-pop to like singing this new sound, having this new sound is with your vocals or the cadence of your?
In K-pop, I felt like I sought a lot of perfection in the
Mm,
vocal. Here, I let some of the I let a lot of my voice just like feel natural, and if I mess up a little, I leave it in the record, and I
yeah,
like it.
it's very raw. I like that.
Yeah, it feels good. I know I don't have like the roughest, grittiest of all voices, but to me, it feels like it's a little more textured, if you will.
Yeah. You played guitar on this. Do you feel like now you've kind of mastered your guitar? Do you feel like you're still a student trying to understand it?
Dude, I suck so much at it. Like it's like pulling teeth trying to just get that out of me.
So this is the first taste of new material that we're all getting from you. Working on a debut album for maybe later this year or the next. But is this the kind of style and sound that we can expect? Maybe looking forward to this debut album, or are you still kind of testing the waters on what works best for your new music?
Oh, I have a very good idea of where we're taking the music, and this is kind of like the most genteel version of the album. That's what I'll say.
What about vocal wise? Do you find yourself learning new ways of singing or understanding new vocal ranges for yourself?
I mean, there's so many colors I love exploring when I'm recording, and what it comes down to is that like I also want to be able to do it live,
Mhm.
and but there's just so much stuff I've never done before because it might not have been appropriate for the material.
Yeah.
Here, I get to just experiment and do whatever the hell I like.
What excited you most about the recording process of Thinking About You?
Oh man. There's just some of the nerdy things, to be honest. Just like when we were recording Thinking About You, we came up with a great kind of just record path with all the nerdy gears, microphones and whatnot. And I
Yeah.
was really liking just how it sounded before it was even like mixed. So it just felt good to me.
Was this the first time using some of this like instrumentation or gear?
Um, oh my gosh, like the whole album's just got some really crazy sounds. We've got like vocoded guitars on it,
Nice.
and it's just like it's so cool. It's like, and the guitars are going to be doing these crazy licks that I'm going to try to mime with my voice as well. It's so fun.
But are you gonna do the licks?
Yes, that's actually the whole goal. I want the guitar to do licks. I want my voice to do licks, and it's just going to be so much fun.
Now going back to this tour that you had last year,
Yeah.
what did you feel like you learned from that experience as far as like being a performer?
Oh my gosh, like so much. It was just a master class in performing art, I suppose. And I felt like I learned, the technical end. I felt I learned a lot about like managing yourself,
Mm,
of course, just kind of maintaining that stamina throughout each show and each leg. And then, I felt like I was learning about also building a show and
yeah.
interacting with the audience a lot more. Just there was so much there, and I wouldn't have this single. I
Mhm.
wouldn't have the new material I'm working on if it weren't for the experience I had on tour.
Yeah. And at the same time, you had like a viral moment last year on social media, on TikTok. Like, how do you feel like that impacted you? Just because I feel like a lot of artists, when they have these kind of viral moments on social media, it either helps them learn like what kind of sound, what kind of like themes the fans want, the audience, or it kind of scares them because like there's so much more pressure now. Like, how do you think that impacted you?
I think, you hit the nail on the head right there. That's pretty much what it was. I went viral and it was just crazy. Just, big number overnight. And then, um, first thing I did was I texted my sister because, she was 17 at the time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Zara, my sister's name is Zara. What is happening? What do I do? Because I know nothing about this. And she's like, I don't know. And so yes, the fear was there, but then the inspiration was there.
Mm,
I had all these messages from people telling me, listen, dude, don't be surprised. You earned this.
yeah.
And I'm like, and I don't fully believe that. I feel like I still now I feel like I owe them, and that's really what I'm writing for,
Yeah.
because I really want to give back to them what they gave to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, congratulations with the success, in your career so far. I'm excited for them to listen to this new material, and I'm excited for this
Me
upcoming
too.
debut album. So, Brooklyn, thank you so much for hanging out with me.
Thank you, Rob.
Absolutely. You guys be sure to check out Brooklyn Juliana new single "Thinking About You" is out July 14th, probably out by the time you check this out. So, thanks for watching our Firmer Live.